I like riding more and making more money, which I did in the year and a half now since the class has been gone, which it's unbeatable value when found on Amazon for $700 to $1,100. Really super hooked on rally. I mean, I knew I wanted to go do rally, but after I did that, I knew that was going to be my life. Still is. Okay, it's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday time. Show number 285, because I can count. 285 episodes of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, where we answer your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. Yes, for Garvin's, it is tequila time. I will have some tequila. Should go pretty good tonight because I've been on a little bit of I had a little medical procedure that old guys get, and I couldn't eat, so this is what we do. And I should probably put my headphones on so I can hear some of this stuff. We might have people call in, I don't know. But the show is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha makes the incredible YZ250 two-stroke. That's right, it's still here. It's really good. They have a YZ125, a YZ85, a YZ65, and of course those awesome four-strokes that are just dominating everywhere. They're good bikes. So go, if you look around a lot of the media, you see that Yamaha does support some of the better podcasts and media outlets and stuff like that. They actually are trying to keep us, and by us I mean me, and us and other companies alive because they believe in what we do. They know that if there's not a good endemic media, then maybe there isn't anything. But anyways, they've been very supportive of the show. I really appreciate it. And I wish I could ride more Yamahas, but I did ride a Yamaha WR125 today. So I held it wide open a lot. And I was getting like 62 miles to the gallon because it has a little thing on the dashboard. So we'll have some WR125 talk for sure. Guess the top speed. I went out in the dry lake bed. Did a little Insta banger video. I've got you in my pocket. If you're not familiar with that, it's all the rage on the Instagrams. There's not many people that have I've got you in my pocket, but I do. And so best thing. And Flip 51X says he has 45,000 miles of my Tenere and it's problem free. Well, that's another reason. Yamaha's all about the durability. So get yourself some Yamaha durability as well. We have a lot of other sponsors: Bulletproof Designs, Trail Tech, Fast Company, Tugger, the Tugger straps. This is still in the bag because in order to make this work, you have to have friends and that go riding with you. And I can't find any of those. I must have scared them all away back in the 1960s. Anyways, Daniel Eakins is already guessing 78 miles per hour. So the WR with VTEC. So the crazy thing, and I haven't done my full research on this bike yet, but it has variable valve timing. A street legal, emissions legal, dual purpose, a 125 liquid cooled four stroke, and it's got some flagship technology, variable valve timing. When do we think this is going to come to the motocross bikes? Because that is, it can be a little bit game changing, that's for sure. Right now, it's used a lot in emissions related things and to kind of be able to make them run more efficiently. But I'm under the impression that it's also done in a lot of very, 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 very high performance machines. So I don't know a whole lot about it, to be honest with you. I haven't really done a deep dive in that. So, but anyways, my name is Jimmy Lewis. I'm a washed up ex-motorcycle racer, washed up journalist, washed up trail rider. And everything is pretty washed up. And tonight I can answer your motorcycle product related questions. Put them in the chat, in the comments, at least for a few minutes in this here. This is the Instagrams. And if you, when I cut you off because you have a short attention span, you have to go to our Facebook or our YouTube. That's at Dirt Bike Test. Just search that out. We're live there right now. We'll stay on for at least an hour, maybe more. You never know. We're going to stay there for one beer. How about that? One beer. And if you would like to sponsor this podcast, it's not that expensive. It's probably a few beers. But when that's gone, show's over. I got to get up early and go drive around out in the desert tomorrow. Someplace nice, actually. I'm going to keep some trails open is what I'm going to do. So, Gary Drummond says, if you're washed up at least once this week, you're good. I did wash up this week. I washed up really good, as a matter of fact. So I'm all good. And the reason Gary's commenting so much is he's going to win Tech Talk Taco Tuesday's Rooster Endo segment tonight. And if you don't know what Rooster Endo is, it's where you send us a picture of your bike. Tell us about what you've done to your bike. A nice picture, by the way. All you have to do is do year, make, and model. And then maybe tell us some little stuff about the bike. And we will talk about your bike. And if you win, it's brought to you by Taco Moto, right up there on the screen, tacomoto.co. They make a lot of cool stuff. They have a lot of cool things for your dirt bike. And they give out a $100 gift certificate to our winner each and every week. And if there's only one contestant, there's only one winner. So I think by default, Gary, you might win. You don't even have to stay in the chat and try to butter me all up. So that's the way it goes. Also on tonight, I will not be reading poetry, I don't think. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm not very good at it, I was told. And the Dusty Lizard at Taylor Park, Colorado in August. I don't know. Probably not. I haven't been there. But there was a Husaberg reunion there that almost got me there. But I see some of the comments going up in the chat, and this is how we do this. We answer your questions and comments, mostly in the chat that's up on the Facebooks and the YouTubes, because I can see that. You Instagram guys are on a whole separate channel. You have nothing to do with all these buttons and cables and wires and monitors and well, you probably cause most of the drinking, really, to be honest with you. But that's the studio. You can come over at any time. Revion X Racewear says hi. Hi, back. Okay, Michael Close says, have you seen a 2014 or similar EXC 350 era wreck its trigger before? Its trigger. Okay. I was going to add a picture, but there's no option to do that in the chat, so I will send you some by DM. Okay, don't send it by DM. Send it to Jimmy at Dirt Bike Test. That's where you send your Rooster Endos, by the way. So Jimmy at Dirt Bike Test. We are near the end of a long dual sport ride. The flywheel hit the trigger and tore it apart. Okay, so he's talking about the ignition pulse sensor. I found no debris under the cover other than parts of the trigger and fine copper wire. Nothing steel was stuck to the flywheel. I thought maybe the crank bearing was loose, but we could not move the flywheel around at all in any direction. I replaced it and the bike runs great again. I'm just worried it will happen again. So I want to see a picture because I want to see what happened to it. So again, Jimmy at dirtbiketest.com, just fire it over there. I can probably grab it while I'm during the show, although it's hard. I got a lot of stuff to do. I've seen them come apart because of heat, but I've never seen, unless your crank is really bad, I've never seen the crank be able to wobble or the flywheel has to be breaking off in order for it to, go up and contact that sucker. On the KTMs, they are bolt on, so I've seen them come loose before and get hit, but that's so rare. But I have seen them heat up before and then start falling apart. So maybe that could be what happened. And I'm trying to remember if on that bike it's dry inside that cover, and it is. So it's not like oil got in there. Some other pieces got in there and flung it around. A picture would really help. But yeah, we can't throw that in chat. If you throw it into my email, I might be able to put it up on the screen and we'll dive back into this. So, For Garvin says, these places in Colorado, I'm not big on like announcing names of places that people ride, because some people get upset when someone that has 21 million. This is the best motorcycle technical podcast on the internets or anywhere, actually. So if I say where you're riding, then everybody wants to go there. And I don't want any of the donkeys that don't want to put the effort into going and doing some trail maintenance, maybe doing a little bit of, extra effort, join Blue Ribbon Coalition, comment on some of these, land use issues, do some stuff to keep these areas open. I hate to mention areas because if they're good, and I know your areas are good, I don't want to get them trampled. Let those people just go to the same place that they go beat the hell out of, and it's good. It has an oil cooling jet behind the stator. So it's a wet ignition on that bike. I'm completely forgetting right now because I've been taking apart Husabergs and Husaberg ignitions, and Husabergs. They're older Husabergs that are all dry, and I can't remember that many things. But another thing we do on this show is we usually sample a little tequila. Cheers to Mark, who's gone to the big off-road race course up in the sky. Tonight we're going to start out with some Los Sundays. Look at that. That's a nice tequila. Notice this is bottle number 4. I'm going to have to put it on the emergency camera here. Here, notice the jaws in there. I want to see that. That's bottle number 4. Good. So we'll have that. By the way, if anybody is interested, Mark Daniels, a big fan of the show, was always helping us with comments and getting good advice for us. His memorial service is going to be at Rottweiler Performance on June 20th down in Costa Mesa, California. So if you look at, if you want to search it, if you saw Mark on the Facebooks, it's on his page. If you follow Rottweiler Performance, they have the information there. Or if you reach out to me with an email or put a message up, when I'm not trying to run this show, I can probably get that information out. I can probably post it on one of our socials. I know I put something up on where to follow Mark's info on Dirt Bike Test a little while ago. Oil cooling jet behind the stator. Oil cooling with a jet behind the stator. Okay. So it's wet, because I'm remembering the last time I took mine apart, I had to do the stator, the starter sprag gear. And I'm trying to remember how I did that. That was on the, I did a video of it. This is how it works. When I do a video of something, I forget everything I did. I just leave that out of my memory because I don't want to forget the awesome trails that I want to remember, that I'm never going to tell you where they're at unless you want to come out with a chainsaw. By tomorrow, I will be using a chainsaw on some trails in someplace. So cheers. I don't just walk the walk, I talk the talk, and that's why I have a podcast. So, Rapid Turkey Farms has a question. And Gary says, I actually watch because I use all the I can use all the MC info I can get. Well, here you're going to get more from Rapid Turkey Farms. My arms get tired from holding on while trail riding. How do I center myself better? Feels like I'm always falling off while I'm standing. That's actually an excellent question, and more common than everybody would think. So, yeah, of course they get tired from holding on, because that's actually what you're doing. You're hanging on to your motorcycle. And how do I know this? Because for 20 some odd years, I had a off-road motorcycle riding school. So I can speak to these kinds of questions pretty effectively. So here's what you are doing. You are either falling forward or falling back when you're riding. And more often than not, riders are falling back off the back of their bike because they're not actually standing up. When they stand up, and I like the way that you use the word center. Actually, when we were doing the schools, one of my coaches actually did his own school. Paul Neff from the Great Pacific Northwest used the word centered all the time. I call it balanced. He liked to call it centered. And so what you're doing is you're not standing up. You're standing up or leaning back. Most of the time when riders stand up, they are doing a squat because somebody told them they need to grab with their knees, or they need to be in an attack position, or they're trying to ride on the balls of their feet. All these myths that get propagated by people that don't really know what they're doing. They're just teaching the same old stuff that, Gary Bailey, Gary Semix, Jimmy Weiner used to teach back in the 1980s, kids. It's different now. And the guys that really know how to teach pretty much don't tell you all of the things because they're trying to save some of it. Since I don't have a school anymore, I don't care. So I'll tell you everything. Anyways, so when you are, you're right, Rapid Turkey Farms. Mark was a great guy. So here's the question I have for you right now, because you're on YouTube, so there's a little bit of a slight delay. So just give me a second when we start answering these things. When you're standing up, do also your legs get kind of tired? And that'll usually indicate that you're riding in kind of a squat. When you stand up, you really want to stand all the way up. And the problem with that is you want to get in a really, really balanced state. So when you're super balanced, then you're not hanging on with anything, not your arms or anything. And the way I would always tell people is you know that you're doing it right when you feel like you can let go of the handlebars. That means you're balanced. It's that simple. But don't do it because there's a lot of controls on the handlebars that you need to use. And then when you do get a little bit out of balance or something goes wrong, you have to use the handlebars to bring you back in balance. But if you're already out of balance, and some people like to know where they're at. For instance, that's why people squat down and get back, because they are anticipating crashing. They're getting into a preventative crash position. And the craziest thing is when I watched that first national at Paula, I was blown away by how many of the riders that usually ride very centered and balanced were now riding kind of over the back. And it just shows how much they're sending it. And it was mostly during qualifying where these guys were really pushing it, and they were doing that stuff. So let me know if your legs are getting tired, and that'll be kind of an indicator. And like I always say, the only time you grab the bike is when you're falling off of it. Other than that, you want to be balanced. And then we go into like this whole thing about how you anticipate what you're going to do next. And this is what takes time, and this is what's scary, because when you get balanced and you don't anticipate what you're going to do, and you're loose like you're supposed to be, you get thrown farther out of balance than you would if you were all tense and tightened up on the bike. But you have to start practicing someplace to figure out how that all works. So I will look for the follow-up on the chat that's over on our YouTube and Facebook pages, and I will keep following up with that. Otherwise, I'm going to hang up on all of you people on the Facebooks, because Los Sundays Tequila. Not a sponsor, but they could be. Cheers, everybody. Okay, see you at the other page. Dirt Bike Test live on YouTube and Facebook. Okay, I'm turning these guys off. That was 18 minutes of my time for them. Let's see. I'm going to share as it a reel, do all this other stuff, and I just type some stuff in like Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. That's 4T's number 285. This show is brought to you by Yamaha, by the way. Hey, do you notice I'm wearing a Climb? This nice looking shirt. It's like I'm flexing with this thing because it's expensive too. This is the new XC Pro jersey. I just got it today, just showed up. So I was super happy to get this because it's 100 million degrees out here. It's really not even 100. It's just barely got to 100. And I went out to ride that WR125. I want to call it a TTR125 so bad because I've been riding Yamaha TTR125s for so long that I want to call it that. But so I threw on my Climb Aggressor vented socks, which I didn't know. I forgot how much I like a good pair of socks. Most of my Climb socks are thicker and they're wool and they're for warm conditions. And I saw they had this new Aggressor vented sock. What's this? I've Got You in My Pocket was brought to you by the Aggressor sock today. You can check that on the Instagrams if you're over there at some point or another. But so I threw this jersey on as well, and it has a fabric called burr, like you're cold. Well, it has some moisture wicking, and for a material that, and as I'm sitting here pulling on it and tugging on it, for a material that's as tough as it is, it's super vented. It doesn't stand a chance the heat inside you doesn't stand a chance. When you sweat, it wicks it, and then it's actually it has kind of cooling, which is pretty nice. So, but it looks nice too. I could wear this. I could just wear this out as a casual piece, and I'm all good. You don't just say that I'm lazy and I don't like changing my clothes. Like the guy said earlier that maybe I don't like taking a shower because he said I should wash up instead of washed up. So Jesse G 8920 says, I took Jimmy's class, came away with knowledge on reacting to unsafe situations. Yes, that's nice. And then MX Beans, thoughts on beta dirt bikes. I like betas. I've always, since before anybody else even knew they existed, because I had a beta trials bike back in 1987. When they started getting into the dirt bike market, I tested them and I gave them a fair shake. And the importer, Tim, would really like us to go out and, ride the bikes and use the bikes. And we did. And I've done that ever since. And it's a nice alternative to other things, although now there's a lot more alternatives. But Beta's been around for a long time. They're a very conservative company. When they talk about rideability, they really mean it for the most part. Like 9/10 of the stuff that they're doing is very rideability focused. Beta should sponsor this show like Yamaha. I need an ad guy to call them up and take care of that business because I'm going to go out and cut trails tomorrow. Jesse G says, like emergency braking techniques and braking on a hill if you don't make it to the top. Yeah, those are good techniques. What's it going to take insurance-wise to bring back your class? Well, I kind of know what it would take. And what it really comes down to is that the fact that I had what's called ongoing permits with the Bureau of Land Management, and the Bureau of Land Management had a very high limit on insurance. And so my insurance costs were ridiculously high, and I was doing it all legal because I have too much to lose. So what's it going to take? It's going to take, first of all, at the end of the year, when I make more money by not doing my classes, that tells me something. So as much as I like doing it, I like riding more and making more money, which I did in the year and a half now since the class has been gone, which is kind of a sad thing, but that's what it costs. Okay, Rapid Turkey Farms is back. What is a rapid turkey farm? By the way, yes, your legs are tired too. I adjust foot position to put head over bars feels the same. If I release pressure on the bars, I go backwards. Getting back into the riding, never had this issue before. Okay, so the thing, what you're feeling is a lot of the ways that bikes have changed. Before, bikes were designed to be sat down on, and they really thought about the sitting position. And now to make the bikes handle better, they tighten up the rider cockpit, and lots of different things have happened. They've gotten more narrow, so there's less stuff to grab onto. Just different things. So you're probably not as far forward as you think you are. In fact, when you're riding, if you look down and you don't see the front of your number plate and or the headlight, you can't see that. Your head isn't far enough forward. And so a lot of times people, they get into like some weird bar position, they start changing all that stuff, but really you just want to make sure you're bending at your hips and you are, able to move around, but you don't want to bend at your knees. And so like head over the bars isn't the right thing. It's balanced on your feet and not on the balls of your feet, on the arches or wherever you're balanced on the foot peg. The balls of your feet is for attacking. So you don't want to use that up unless you need to. So arch your foot most likely, and then just put the bike on a stand, so that it's balanced, and then take your hands off the handlebars and stand on the motorcycle. Just stand on the foot pegs. Don't touch anything else. Balance yourself that way. And it's hard because it's a peg. It's not, you don't get your heels and your toes down. So just stand there on the motorcycle and get yourself balanced. And then start reaching for the bars and see what that does to your body. But when you go for the bars, bend at your hips and stay balanced. And then some people say, it might be better if my foot pegs are a little bit farther back. Or man, if my seat was a little bit thicker and I could kind of grip it a little bit, it would help me get in this position. So there's all kinds of little things that you can do, that you can adjust and play with to kind of figure it out. And this is stationary. But the thing is, the minute you start moving, you have to start leaning forward. You have to anticipate that I'm going to turn the throttle and that's going to throw me backwards. So before you start accelerating, you need to lean forward, and the acceleration will actually hold you in the same position. And then the same goes for when you decelerate. When you decelerate, it's going to throw you forward. So you literally, and when you're doing that, you want to fall backwards. So you want to kind of you want to squat and lean back, but you don't actually do that because when you decelerate, the bike holds you up. And this should be practiced a lot so that you're comfortable with it, enough so that it becomes instinctive. Yeah. So that's my answer there. And he says, I don't grip with my knees, and he tries to stay loose. That's good. Because I see especially taller riders trying to grip with their knees, and all of a sudden they go into a squat and they are all jacked up. Gary Drummond replies, I was standing up on a 701 and the back end kicked out. I went down on my shoulder, but my tech vest saved me from a broken collarbone. Is the tech vest, is that the, that's not the Air one, is it? Not the Alpine Star. Is it the Alpine Stars one? And the other thing I always say is when people tell me what their safety equipment did, I need to see video from 3 angles, and I need to have you recreate the exact same situation without your safety equipment so we can make sure that what you think happened would have happened. Because you'll be amazed at how durable the human body is and how fragile it is. So I'm not a big, Tech Fest like Ratto wears. Who's Ratto? I don't know. Too many names. I think the Tech Vest is that's the one that you pump the air into it. It has air all the time. I was saved by one of those big time too. A long time ago, I was actually testing it, and I high-sided an XR400 into a giant pile of rocks like an idiot, and I bounced, and I couldn't believe that I wasn't injured. But I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have it on. But it definitely, I know it helped, but I'm not going to quote you the injuries that I could have had. So if I didn't want to get injured, I wouldn't ride a motorcycle. Although I was trying to explain that to my doctor the other day. They weren't biting it. Let's see. I'll try it static. I do accel decel drills, and I'm good there when I'm just riding. I'll do more stationary work. I'm good there when I'm just riding. So it's trail riding, or just when you're doing the accel decel rules. Well, so ideally, when you want to practice those things, you want to, and we had some drills for this. You want to practice it, but you want to practice it without, when you're accelerating and decelerating, if you're having to hang on, you're doing it wrong. If you're having to squeeze, you want to figure out a way to just anticipate all that stuff. The problem is when you're trail riding, all of a sudden you're throwing a lot of different angles into it. There's bouncing going on. There's lots of stuff. And not to say that you're not allowed to use the handlebars, but you want to use it in very momentary bursts to put you back in the right position. And the less you do it, the better you are. And it takes time and practice. And this is what I'm talking about. He says, when I'm trail riding, I feel off. So when you practice on a flat field, everything is easy. But that's why we practice on a flat field, because you want to know what it feels like when it's easy. So when you do go trail riding and you realize, why am I gripping? Why am I pulling? You go, oh, I got to slow down and pay attention to what I'm doing and learn how to do this. Rado and Jay Clark do YouTube videos. I know Jay Clark. I don't know if I know Rado. I am kind of off the social media stuff. I mean, I have it, but I kind of treat it. I was going to post a picture of me with mini horses that I have and say that that's my new hobby. I was going to put that on social media because that's what I think of it. I treat it kind of like a toilet. I treat social media like a toilet. I like to put stuff in, but not take anything out. Sorry for that visual. So there was like 3 or 4 things I was supposed to remember to talk about from last week's show. And I don't remember what they are because it was on last week's show and I forgot everything. So if you can remember, put that in the chat and I'll go back into that stuff. I think one was about the cylinder rule. I think that was one of them. And the other thing was, I can't remember. So I'm going to go into our YouTube comments. So if you comment on this video on YouTube and I don't get to it because it was done at a later date, it will pop up in our community section. And I go back through those during the show and I try to answer all the questions. And Laura Yo Poppins says, great riding, guys. You two are the best. And he's not talking about me, or she's not talking about me. So I'm not going to tell Trevor that she ever said that. It's all about the rider, says Nate. And they're talking about another one of Trevor's videos. Oh, but here we go. SMG 5960 says, thanks for the video. Much help on the DBT front moose change video. And I said, no problem. Hope it made the job a little easier. That was a AI generated comment, by the way, that I just pushed a button and click it and sent it. That was the one beer front moose change with no special tools. Now I use Rabaconda. Why isn't Rabaconda sponsoring the show? I need to talk to them. They should with our 21 million people visitors, whatever it is, they should do that. Stack Smasher says, excellent show. When Jimmy goes silent on the big news. That's because last week when I put the picture of the new Kawasaki up, the sound went out amazingly. It wasn't planned, but Yamaha does sponsor this show. Go buy a Yamaha. Even if you have your deposit down in a Kawasaki, that was the most hype I've seen on Moto since the Stark Varg. And I stand by what I said. The week before the damn Kawasaki came out, I said, I bet you in development they started having some durability problems, and that's why it took them a little while to get it going. But let's see. You mentioned your KTM 950 last week, number 100. Yes. Oh, how I got that bike? It was the very first KTM 950 to be brought in the country. Cycle World used it as a test bike. We requested to keep it as a long-term test bike. We put over 100,000 miles on the thing, and then KTM didn't want it back, so I bought it. I would say really cheap, but there's no way I'm going to tell you that I bought it really cheap if I'm trying to sell it to you, because it's obviously a collector's item. I've got the original test and all the stuff for it, and it's on its. I think the motor's. It's had the motor completely rebuilt at KTM. They used it as a demonstration for some of their dealers at one point. Jimmy Cromwell says, Jimmy, I'm here enjoying the show, and my wife is sitting next to me. Said, I've got a question you can ask him. Ask Jimmy, how can you just own one bike and sell the rest of them? Oh, wait, what? What are you trying to do? Like, this isn't. Hold on. Let me have a sip of beer here. When this beer is gone, this show is over. By the way. Ask Jimmy how you can own just one bike. I can't. I never will own just one bike. There's no way I'm going to be able to sell off 70 motorcycles. I won't own one bike. I would have probably, ideally, I'm trying to think of how many I ride on a regular basis. If I wasn't forced to ride some of my bikes, and by forced, I mean sometimes I have to ride some of them just to make sure that they get run every once in a while, to run gas through them and just to keep them running. And I park some of them, like my KTM 950 has been parked for way too long. My BBR XR 230 or whatever it is, parked for way too long. These are bikes with carburetors and or batteries that just go bad. So I would probably end up having, it's like, do I really want to have a big adventure bike and a smaller adventure bike? This is a question that I'm going to answer this summer, because I'm going to do some long distances on my Tenere 700, and I'm going to decide whether I need something with more power if I decide I want to do long pavement sections. So, because I do have the option of riding a number of KTM 1090 1190s if I needed to. But the problem is I don't like riding on the pavement. I don't like doing the quote adventure touring or the sport touring on the pavement that much. I'm usually just using it to get someplace, but a lot of times I have to get there, and therefore I'm not afforded the luxury of going and riding on all these awesome dirt roads that I can find. So, there we go. And Sportsman Cycle says, where is all your helpers? Well, Gary, where are you? You could be here talking about betas. And I said a really nice thing about betas a few minutes ago, just so you know. Jimmy Cromwell says, no, she wants me to only own one bike and is asking how to get rid of the rest. Oh, it's real easy. For her, it's really easy how you can get rid of the rest of the bikes. You can convince them that you own all the bikes. That's what you do. You talk to your husband. Like Heather can't believe how many bikes that she has. And since they're hers, I guess she could sell them if she wanted to. And I probably wouldn't notice it for a little while. And maybe by the time I noticed it, I would be used to it. And then it was everything. Like they say, happy husband, better life. So just be careful with what you're treading on there. Yes, this is marriage counseling 101. I'm not a marriage counselor. EBTB Moto Adventures 5001 says, is the new KX327 a green KTM? No, it's not a green KTM. It's a Kawasaki, and I would be willing to bet that it's going to be different, and in a good way, a really good way. I don't know, but it may not be everything that we are expecting it to be. They didn't really throw a lot of numbers up there. There's not a lot of information. So until we ride it, we won't know. But I don't think it'll be a green KTM. I mean, everybody knows that KTM is also working on developing a bigger two-stroke. Beta has a 350, by the way, which they're almost sold out of all the time. And Team Flannel says, I love the hat, Old Moto Triple X. You can never just own one bike, and they have all different personalities. I tell my wife of 35 years, hey, bikes are different than me. Just finding only you. That's a really good thing. But I always tell Heather, I say, you don't see me riding just one bike, do you? That doesn't really keep her in check. It's probably, I mean, that's why we have his and hers Husabergs. I mean, come on, let's be real. So, as long as I'm riding, I'm very, very happy. If you take my motorcycles away, I'd probably have a divorce. And not because I don't like my wife. It's because I'd be an asshole and she wouldn't like me. So just saying. Okay, back to our YouTube comments. On Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, on a 650L, this guy runs 1448. That's a Honda. Still do 65 to 70, but it's for off-road, mountains and woods. Okay. 650L, 1448 for trails. I don't know what the stock gearing on that is, but it's you gear your bike your own way. You gear you. And some other people are also. Joe Stratman's sorry to hear about our buddy Mark. Yeah, we all are. Hey, at Llama 232 says it's really amazing the bike considering it's a Triumph's first effort, because Trevor has this video, Truth About Racing the Triumph 450E with no filter. And here's the crazy thing is I don't know, but I should probably call him and find out right now, but he might be racing a mountain bike. I'm under the impression that Trevor and maybe someone else won the Glen Helen 10-hour race on that particular bike. But let me see if I can call and actually confirm. There's a lot of buzzers and things beeping around here right now. Let's go to the it's been a while since I've called Trevor. He doesn't really answer my calls mostly. He has a real job, and that's why we can't do, here we go. We can't do too much stuff. I'll put him on the speaker and see if he answers. It's probably going straight to voicemail. If I could only own 3 bikes, what would they be? That's a good question. It would be an extreme enduro bike, a KTM 500 bike, and a Tenere 700. Those 3 bikes.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Oh yeah, don't answer my question. Okay. So I think he's doing a mountain bike race right now, to be honest with you. So I can't get to the bottom of that. But yeah, Trevor did pretty good on that particular bike. And so he's backing up what he said, because I when I saw that, I was kind of blown away, because when we went to the intro, we were one of the few outlets that really praised that bike for what it was. Everybody else kind of shit talked it. And then when we started testing it more, everybody that rode it kind of really liked it, really realized it was kind of one of those bikes that does everything well, nothing great, nothing bad, which makes a good bike. Then when we got the Triumph 450X, I guess it's a whole different bike. It's the race off-road version. And our guys were struggling with it. So everybody wants to ride the old enduro one. So I got to figure out which one Trevor raced and how it ended up. Let's see. Donald Blank says about is this the best motorcycle ever made? The 2025 Gas EX300 review. No, it isn't the best bike ever made, he says. That would be the 2023 Gas EC250. If you don't already know that you are brand new to the sport and a sucker ready to travel down a really long rabbit hole. Okay. If you don't already know that you are brand new to the sport, well, we're not brand new to the sport. And a sucker ready to well, we've traveled down a lot of rabbit holes, especially with modifying bikes. And that's where we're at. Back to the other thing. Dirt Ride 6 says, what do you think about the Apollo 125cc RFZ dirt bike? I don't know anything about it. So I don't know what to think about something I don't know anything about. I just rode a Yamaha WR125 today, and I know what I think about that. But the Apollo, where is the Apollo made? And is it really a dirt bike? I need to see a picture, which I don't. I guess I could Google it. Let me do this right now. I'll tell you what I know about this. Hold on. There's no reason. Wait a minute. Okay, Dirt Ride 6. Just hang out here. Just chill. We're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to your answer. Let me. Here we go. Here's what I think. I thought about it very in depth right now, and it's a highly affordable, excellent entry-level pit bike for the casual backyard riding and learning the ropes, but it requires a diligent maintenance and lacks the long-term durability of a high-end suspension of a Japanese bike brands like Honda or Yamaha. It's unbeatable value when found on Amazon for $700 to $1,100. It's very easy to work on. The parts are cheap and easy to source next day via Amazon. And let's see, the cons: build quality. Like chains, stock carburetors, and tires can be hit or miss. Many riders in communities like Thumper Talk note that the bolts can back out easily. It's considered a Chinese pit bike, and it draws criticism from platform like Reddit dirt bikes community for snapping parts or having less predictable resale value compared to a Yamaha TTR 125. Well, and this show is brought to you by Yamaha, and the Yamaha TTR 125 is probably one of the best 125cc like off-road dirt bike only dirt bikes, and that's coming from a guy who's ridden one a lot. So and it only maxes out at 55 depending on gearing, and the seat can be uncomfortable and the engine gets loud and vibrate at top. Well, there we go. That's what Dirty Rides. That's what I know about the the Apollo. Do you have one? That's the question. Are you thinking about getting one? Because if not, I would go and try to find a used Yamaha TTR 125 if you're in the price market, or if you want to go all the way in, go get the new Yamaha TTR 125. I've been ripping one of those things at our local little kids motocross track on the rides days. And somebody says, don't go too far on it. And Ace says, yo, hey, Jimmy. Hey, yo, hey, Ace. Good to see you. EMT Moto Adventures says, got another question. Oh, boy. I have a 1980s Husky CR390. Okay, so just a little bit of history for those younger people in the thing. A Husky is a Husqvarna. And Husqvarnas were made in Sweden for a long time. Back in 1980, that's where they're made. A CR390 is the motocross, not open class bike. It was an open class bike because 250 was still 250, but some guys didn't want a 500. Okay, here's his question. Clutch works perfect at low RPMs, starting and stopping. Mid-throttle, it slips like it's roach. But old clutch and new feel the same. Could it be a clutch cable? Oh, so you put a new clutch in it and it's still... Okay, I know exactly what this is. Not that I know anything about 1980 Huskies, but I will tell you what I know about clutches. You don't have enough what they call installed gap. So you don't have enough clutch plates in there. So you might be missing one, like a metal or a fiber at one end of the pack potentially, or you could stuff it in there with one. So you're probably short one plate, and that's causing it. So there's not enough tension on it to make it stick. So that's what I'm guessing. Hey, if that works out for you, number one, you got the advice for free, so take it for what it's worth. Number two, get back to us. Let us know that worked. Sometime comment in the video or chat or share this show on the Facebooks and say, this donkey out here in Valley of the Dirt People, Pahrump, Nevada, answered my question and help me. And if it didn't work, come back and tell me what you did and let me know, more, and I can help you more. So everybody's saying, don't go too far on that Apollo 125 there, Dirty Bike. And he has another question. What bike would yourself trade for a Honda XR 250, Honda 250X Sports Quad? Everything is good. I just need a new seat. What bike would I trade? Would yourself trade? Myself wouldn't trade anything for a Honda quad. I have Honda, not sports ones. I have Honda work quads. I wish I had Yamaha Wolverines or Grizzlies. That's what because Yamaha sponsors this podcast, but I don't have those. I have these older Honda quads, so I don't need anything. If you need a new seat, just go on Amazon's and buy a seat cover, or better yet, go to Rocky Mountain MCATV. Click on the link on Dirt Bike Test. Go to dirtbiketest.com, hit the support us button, click down, click on that link. If you do that, we get a little chunk, a little nugget, a little bit when you do some stuff. Let's see. Like any bike. Let's see. He's 5'6" and 13. What bike and CC? So if you're 5'6" and 13, God, you're right. You're right in that in-between zone. This is the hard thing. You're right in this in-between zone where you're growing, I suspect. And at 5'6", 5'7", it depends on your length of your legs. You're a little bit big for the smaller bikes and a little bit short for the regular ones. Before they used to, like when I was growing up, we had 100cc dirt bikes. I never had one because it was a little bit before my time, but they had 100cc dirt bikes that was in between like at the time, the 80 and the 125. And they, they had the full size wheels, but they're in smaller chassis and things. What would I do? Man, I mean, at your age, and you were looking at that Apollo because that's like kind of this mid-size thing, and it's affordable. I would just start looking at the used bike market and try to find maybe, the thing is, I hate to say grow into a bike. And if you're buying a kind of a bike that's super low cost, a lot of times they're hard to ride. They don't run properly. It makes them hard to ride. And I would hate for someone young to have a bad experience riding a bigger bike. It's not good. So maybe look around for like a Yamaha TTR 125, a Honda XR 150 or XR 125 or CRF they're called now, CRF 125. A Kawasaki KLX 230 or not a 230, but the 125 or 140. They're 140s. Find one of those bikes used. Maybe it needs a little bit of fixing up. And then you can learn how to work on it, learn how to fix it up, spend a little bit of your money making it nice. Like make it better every time you ride it. And just start thinking, hey, I'm going to sell this thing at some point and try to make a little bit of money on it when you sell it. And then that's your jump start to your next bike. So, and you've always been on bigger bikes. So, if you've always been on bigger bikes, then you can do bigger bikes. But I would say, it really depends on where your riding level is and what you're really trying to, what you're trying to accomplish. And I know it's get the next best bike. Go find someone that races and go work on their bikes. And then you'll see if they'll say, hey, can I go to the track with you? And I'll help you work on your bikes. And then you'll go to the track and you'll see other bikes. And then maybe somebody will let you ride their bike. And if you're working on somebody's bike, maybe they'll let you ride it a little bit or something. And then you can get a taste for what's out there. There's lots of ways. If you're motivated, you can find a way. So, and Gary wants to know, do I know what size WR Cody Webb rode at Erzberg? I believe it started as a 250. I don't know what size it was as he actually rode it. I would suspect it's a little bit bigger. I'm guessing it's like one of the the 280 kits or something like that. I've talked to him a little bit about this, but I haven't come to any consensus. I wish Yamaha would make a 350. Is what I wish, but I need to do a little bit more research because I want to build up one of my WR 250s. So yeah, Dirty Rides. Let me know where you end up. Like when you figure out what you get, give me a heads up and send a picture. And send your picture if you want to know how to get $100 closer to what you're doing. You would send a picture of your bike. Tell us your make and model, even if it's Apollo 125. Your make and model. Send it to Rooster Endo in the subject line. Send it to Jimmy at Dirt Bike Test, and you could win $100 from Takamoto, like Gary Drummond is going to be doing tonight when we do Rooster Endo, which we may be doing right now. Where's our Rooster Endo music? Hold on.
Roost or Endo?
Endo. Rooster Endo.
Okay, I did it. We have an intro for the segment. Rooster Endo brought to you by Takamoto. That's takomoto.co. This is a motorcycle. It is a 2023 Sherco SEF 250 factory 4-stroke. Okay, so from the factory, it's a lightweight, 225 pounds dry. Well, Gary, they can pretty much put anything they want when it's dry. Because you know how they measure dry? When Honda used to measure bikes dry, that meant no liquids at all. No fork oil, no shock oil, no engine oil, no coolant, no nothing. Yes. So I'll bet you it's minimum 232. Anyways, I've installed Bulletproof Designs radiator guards, which are the best, by the way. G2 Ergonomics full wrap handguards, moto-minded headlight insert with Baja Design Squadron Sport LED light, front and rear tugger straps. Why are you putting the tuggers on there? You getting stuck? Motion Pro fork bleeders and compression adjusters. Those are really good little parts. A Turbis silicone silencer protector, Polysports plastic case and swing arm guards, P-Tech skid pan, and front and rear disc guards, and various blue anodized Sherco hard parts. And the IRC M5Bs hooks it up. It's a top shelf 250F. Well, Gary, that's for me to decide because this is Rooster Endo and I'm the only one here right now to do this judging. Dude, the M5Bs, that was when I was back in the old days, that was the affordable tire of choice. And I know that they still have a cult following. So let's see. Cody ran a 250 FX with an Athena 300 big bore kit at Erzberg, says Ohio Dual Sports. Okay. I just watched his interview with Max Gersten where he talked about it. See, if you would just watch everybody else's show instead of this one, you would have all of the info. So I didn't think it was a WR. You know what? It may not have been a WR because it might have started out as a YZ over there. You just never know. Go watch Max Gersten's video, and then you'll know. So, okay, back to Rooster Endo. Got to get back to Gary's bike. So Gary's bike here. I'm gonna zoom in and start taking some looks. So we are looking at a 2023. That's back when Cody Webb used to ride for him too, right? This is why he's got the Cody Webb fan thing. So yeah, I rode a Sherco a while back, and I was pretty impressed with it overall. It made a good long power, that's for sure. So Gary, here's what Gary did here. So he buttered me up by saying that this is the best show. It was another great show last week, he said. I have one TTT Rooster Endo before. And then he goes on to some other stuff. This is my bike, got some razzing the first time around. Hopefully it isn't the same photo, because I was going to tell you, it looks like you rode it out of your garage and you put your helmet on it to show that you're a safety freak, number one. And number two, to make it look like you actually took it out someplace nice to take pictures. I do like the nice light fall colors in the background. There looks like there might be a hint of moisture in the ground, which makes me excited since all we have out here is poof dirt and silt right now. This bike, I bet you it roosts. I'll bet you it revs to the moon and it roosts. So I'm going to go with roost on this particular one. Gary, welcome to Roosterendo. Remind me in an email, and we should be good. Another email I got this week. It says, "Hi there. Hope you're having a great Friday." Well, it's not Friday, but you see how often I check my email. And Emma goes to say, "Real quick, I was wondering if you open to a link exchange or paid arrangement in exchange for assisting me with a link on dirt bike test for my client. If so, just let me know which option you prefer, and I can send you a list of relevant guest post topics." Well, I need to know some topics, so Emma, why don't you just get back to me with your topic list? Link exchange. I just want the paid arrangement. Just send Mega USD over to Dirt Bike Test. You can just on YouTube. You can just put it into the chat. You can basically just give me a whole bunch of money in the chat, and then I'll be super happy. So, cheers. 118 speed, no, 11S, 11 Speed Freak 11 says he just got his wife a 250 FX for my wife. Well, I just got a Husaberg for my wife too. That's nice of you. Yeah. The little 250F doesn't want to flame out like bigger bore four strokes. Of course. Well, they will if you let them lug down like that. I was on that Yamaha WR, which I'll go into here in a minute. I was lugging it as much as I could, and a 125 four-stroke doesn't have a whole lot of torque, but usually because they're revving a lot more, they don't want to flame out, and then it's when they kind of go into zero throttle, kind of compression braking. It's easier for the inertia of the wheel and everything, inertia of the bike to keep that thing spinning. So, and it's also when you turn the throttle the other direction, sometimes they don't want to go. That's why you got to rev the piss out of them, like I was doing on that WR. You want Mega D? Are you sure about that? Yeah, USD, US dollars. That's what I was sure about, not the other Mega D, by the way. And Joe Bummy says he loves his 25 EXC 500, but he's eyeballing a 2022 or newer KLR 650, as they're about half the price of a used Tenere. I want a bike I can put 200,000 miles on. Thoughts? Okay, Joe, have to tell you that as much as this show is sponsored by Yamaha, and I love the Tenere, you can't go wrong with a KLR 650. Putting 200,000 miles on it, I think the durability on those two bikes is the same, but you're right about the price. Yeah, KLRs kind of drop into this price zone that they just stay in. And if you can get a used one in that price zone, you could put another 50,000 miles on it and sell it and probably buy another one for the same price. That's what my thoughts are. But I will tell you, you will be absolutely, utterly disappointed in the performance difference between those two bikes. And I think we have a test on one of the newer KLR 650s. I remember riding it across Death Valley about this time of year, and it was hotter than shit. And all I wanted to do was get to the other side where it was going to be 10 or 15 degrees cooler, and it took forever. It was hot. And I wrecked the fuel economy on the bike because running it like that, kind of like running a Tenere at super high RPMs, you use a lot more gas than you thought. So, okay. His 450 FX is surely faster. I thought that was her bike too. My wife has a YZ250 FX and a WR450 as well. So let's see. And Wienerbutt wants to know what's wrong with the WR. Which WR? The one that Cody Webb decided not to ride or didn't ride, or what's wrong with the WR125? There isn't anything wrong with a WR125. I just don't know exactly what's right with it. So here's the question I have. So I spent this afternoon just a little bit of time ripping around on it, mostly just to go out to the dry lake bed and hold it wide open and kind of make a joke and do a I've got you in my pocket, which you can find over on Dirt Bike Test Instagram. And you can guess, and it's not 78 miles an hour. Whoever, Dave Donnelly, I think, thought it was 78. It's not that. And I was blown away. It's a big bike chassis. It has a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel, and it's on a, I don't want to call it a big bike, but it's a full-size motorcycle. It's the same size as like the 250s that other manufacturers, 230s that other manufacturers are making. So I really thought it was going to be a small wheel bike. I couldn't tell in the pictures, although I did see pictures. Like I've seen Cody Webb has one. I've seen him hopping it over logs and riding it up rocks. And I rode mine faster than he rode his. So just so you know, I'm kind of curious about like exactly like what the target market for. Maybe it's somebody that you just can't get a speeding ticket, and that could be the goal. And you will ride this thing wide freaking open everywhere. It's just, that's the way it is. It's kind of the speed of, trying to compare it to a car I've been in. It'd be kind of like a speed of a quarter-ton truck towing an oversized load. Yeah, or it's faster than a school bus. I'm sure of that. But it's fun. It's perky. It's got some throttle response. Then it's just kind of flat and just kind of slowly accelerates. You pretty much ride it. The whole time I was riding, it was between 9 and 11.5 because it has a tachometer on it. But it felt pretty good. The handling felt pretty good. The tires are a little suspect. I just haven't ridden those kind of round tires a lot lately, and I know the pressure's way up high on them, so it was a little bit skatey. I'm gonna do some stuff. I might probably do some mods on it. It has a big giant catalytic converter on it, so maybe an exhaust system could really work wonders for that thing. The suspension was actually stiffer than I expected. Like it actually can handle hitting some bumps, which is good, because I think they're starting to realize that the people that get these always want to go out and jump them every once in a while, so they kind of build that in. We'll see how it goes in the comfort. It has some, we'll call them no taper bars. Doesn't even have a crossbar on the old smaller diameter bars, but it's got some really nice pieces and some other stuff I need to look at a little bit closer. Next question, Speed Freak says, do you know of any desert tanks for a 21 YZ450 FX? Can't find anything, and it's got a pinner tank. I probably have to add 1 gallon front number plate. So 21. I think IMS used to make one that actually kind of went out of the outside of the shrouds. I actually may have one up in my rafters. I don't know if I wrote what year it was from, but it could have been 21. It might have been earlier though. It might have been like a 19, and they were a little bit different. But I've been running on mine. I have been running IMS tanks and my other one is a 23. So I don't remember if there was a change. They seem to change about every 2 years, so that might be a different one. But IMS makes one that adds about 3/4 of a gallon. Let's see. Speed Freak says, I remember racing the 2014 last dog standing, and remember when you came off the plank and landed front tire high and ripped both your hands off the handlebars and you freaking saved it. Oh. Yeah, that was interesting. Let's see. Yeah, that was on my KTM 200. Yeah, they had a diving board thing that you dropped off a cliff, and I went just a little bit too far. And if people don't know, my career-ending injuries were wrist injuries, and so my hands don't really work. And so when I do that, this comes down to yeah, there's video of this someplace. So I dropped off this thing, and if you could get that video and send it to me, I'll put it on the show next week. So when I landed, the good thing is I was still kind of in a little bit of decent shape, and so I absorbed. Like I expected to be able to absorb it with my entire body, but when my hands came off, at least I was balanced, and I just kind of collapsed down onto the bike, and then since I was balanced, I was kind of going straight. So when my chest and everything kind of landed on the handlebars, I continued to go straight. And I almost rode into a tree, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that's what happened. I don't remember anything else. So I'm going to try to give Trevor Hunter a call here again. We'll see if this donkey will pick up the phone for me. Like I said, I think he's all gassed after racing a mountain bike. He does these mountain bike race series in the on Tuesday nights now, or he goes to his club meetings where they figure out how to make horrible races. I guess, not really sure. Yeah, Johnny Campbell opted out. See, Johnny Campbell's smarter than me, that's for sure. So here we go. And my call was not answered again, so he's not gonna call into the show. Okay, a couple other things I wanted to. So I talked about the Yamaha WR. I'll talk briefly about the cylinder rule. So I was told, and this goes back to our friend that was. His wife was wondering, Jimmy Cromwell. The cylinder rule is you need to have to have lived a successful life as you get older. You need to have a cylinder for every year that you've aged. So this is in our younger generation is never going to be able to, this is our legacy. This is what we got to hold it down in our gas burning age. You need to, and you can count any internal combustion cylinder you own. So your chainsaw works, but we're really kind of diving deep on the motorcycles and maybe your vehicle. So I'm good. I mean, I'm really good because I got a few, if not a lot, of 8-cylinder trucks rolling around this place, and I've got lots of motorcycles. I got more motorcycles than I'm years old by about 17, I think. And so I'm good. So if you need me to loan you some cylinders, I might be able to do that if you need some help. So just think about the cylinder rule as you get older. You can't count compressors, unless it's a gas compressor and counting those cylinders. And Ace Nilsson said he did something similar at the Apex Enduro up in Canada over one of those massive teeter-totters. The craziest thing on those teeter-totters, and I've ridden over a lot of them, is you got to slow down. You can't treat it like a jump because if you think you're going to go jump off it, usually you're way too high on the other side. It's too big of a jump anyways. But as you pass the center, it drops out from underneath you and you don't really jump. You kind of you literally jump off just a little bit past the pivot point is where you would jump from. Most people kind of ride up it a little bit too fast and then slow down and it starts going down and then they try to accelerate, but the ground's falling out from under them. And then they're out of balance. Only 12 motorcycles. Okay, well hopefully you got like an 8-cylinder truck and an 8-cylinder motorhome to make up for it. So good on you, Speed Freak. Okay, I had another question come in. The trigger damage photo showed up from Michael Clock. Let's see here. Let me get, okay, well, there's a picture of a pair of dikes. There's a picture of the trigger. Oh, yeah, look at that thing. Okay, so it got hot somehow. Let me look at the next photo. I'm going to see if I can get this into the show. And let me drag this photo. Okay, so I have to download it. Here we go. Download it, and then I have to go here, and then I have to go and put another folder in here, find it in the folder. There we go, like that. Maybe I can drag it into the show. I'll put it into Rooster Endo. Watch this. Oh boy, that's a big photo there. So you're looking at the trigger of a KTM ignition. We're going to move it around here. There we go. That's the so it's kind of hard to see. Yeah. So it is an oil bath ignition. Now I'm starting to remember after I see it. And it looks kind of damaged there. And I'm looking for other signs of excessive heat. So a lot of times when people talk about coil, and right now we're looking at the inside of a KTM ignition. I'm scrolling around on the screen for those that are listening as a podcast. I'm looking at these coil windings, and most of these are what generate the power that charges your battery and runs your lights and all that stuff. And then there's a few of them here, like this one down on the bottom. This is what's generating the power for your ignition. That's what makes it spark. And so sometimes there's extra windings on a couple of these that go to that, but every bike's a little bit different, and that's how it works. So he checked his crank run out, and so this is in the side cover. So the side cover goes on, and the ignition rotor is spun around backwards out to the outside. So it's like you place this inside of the ignition. So you would take that and wiggle it around to see if there was any excessive play. So these two bolts here is what holds the trigger, the pulse sensor is what they call it, onto the gear housing here, or the case. And then there's two wires that go up, and then they plug in a little bit farther up into the wiring harness. So that's what you have there. I'm going to look at that one other photo that he sent. There's a picture of a pair of dikes and then some stuff. There's a big, it's like a bunch of debris of a wire. I guess that was floating around in there. What is that off of? It's hard to see whether it came out of the I'm looking out on the screen right now. It's hard to see whether that came out of the so that tore it out of the inside. That's the coil windings inside of, there's another photo. Well, those things are spread out all over the place. Yeah, I think that thing just got super hot, but I'm looking around for some other signs of, when I can zoom in really close on my own thing, and I'm looking to see if anything else looks burnt inside there, and nothing really does. So, it's not that easy to see if there's a problem. I wonder what could have done that. And you said you didn't find anything else, because sometimes if something can get in there, like there's no indication. I'm looking down at where the oil would pool at the bottom of this cover to see if there's any pieces or any other parts. So my question is now, like when you looked at this, Mike, was there any stuff in your other filters or other magnets to indicate that there's something kind of took a tour around inside there? Because I've never seen one, quote, pop like that. And that's really rare. It's one of those things that maybe just happens. I mean, if it was a Husaberg, I'd say that was just Wednesday, but obviously it's not. So if it was a Husaberg, it would have done that, and before the engine stopped spinning, it would have somehow decided to eject the crank or drop a valve. That's Husaberg for you. Okay. Moving right along. Let's see. I don't know. There was not too many people put pictures or sent videos of their bikes not running properly on the thing. There's people flipping people off on the Instagrams and the YouTubes. Here's a picture. The plan was a new piston at 40 hours, and at 36.7 hours, the plan was revised, and it looks like his piston and this is a KTM 150. It's a 2025 EXC with an SX tune and pipe. Well, I wonder, I always say, what did you do to it last? And that would probably be the cause of the problem. So here's another one on the beta forums. He says, I have a problem that's driving me crazy. When I twist the throttle on my 2350, the RPMs will stay high until pull the clutch in, or sometimes when I rev it a little bit more. Or it will stay high even with the clutch in until I let it out. It happens pretty much every time I twist the throttle. Based on some previous suggestions from this group, I checked the intake boot header pipe at the head where it connects to the silencer and added some copper silicone. Cleaned the stepper motor, reset the stepper motor by letting it idle until the fan came on, and made sure the cable is free and clear, but I have the same problem with no improvement. My last resort is a dealer 2.5 hours away, but hoping that I can get it resolved before that. So interesting thing is I've noticed this on beta 4-strokes, the smaller displacement ones especially, and to me it always felt like it was the stepper motor. The stepper motor, it seems like it's kind of meant more for like a racing application in my world, and it doesn't let the bike idle back down all the time. So I'm pretty sure that some beta person should know the answer to this. Where is our people at Sportsman Cycle right now that are wondering where all my helpers are at? Because they could be a helper right now. So Gary Drummond said he killed 2 stators on an 80 Honda Shadow by bottoming it out, trying to ride it like a dirt bike. Like smashing the stators into the ground? Okay. And San Felipe Bob has a cowboy hat on. That's nice to know. Good to see you, San Felipe Bob. On the beta of the high idle, I bet it's the TPS is overvolted. Yeah, throttle position sensor. Because those, yes. That's what I should tell him. We're discussing your problem right now. Let's see if your throttle body is like this. Somebody says the throttle bodies wear out, and other people are telling him the throttle cable was twisted, and other people are telling him the front sensors in the cylinder, they will be caked with dirt and not working properly. You should also have a map change to the open map. Yep. And then the guy complains about his driving. So, yeah, some decent information. The beta forum has not gone as cattywampus as the KTM forum. I'll just tell you that right now. Over on the KTM forum, there are a lot of experts. Yeah, a lot of them. And you got to be careful with those guys, because they have more time to sit in front and make comments than they do. See, they're not like me, where I just do my 2 hours of penance every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. If you ever want to wonder when you can see it live, and then you can throw interesting, even if you're on the KTM forum and you have a lot of time to sit in front of the computer, sit in the computer from 7 till 9 on Tuesday night and type into the chat and let me know. And Gary Drummond also had a 22 Beta 394 stroke, and the hunting idle, it was the TPS. So yeah, out of sync TPSs on any sort of bike that, I mean, even in the old days when we had TPSs on the carbureted KTM RFS bikes, adjusting it made a big difference. And if you didn't know what you were doing, you could make your bike run horribly by, messing with it. And then on the rare chance that the TPS voltage was wrong, and it was rare, it would make the bike run improperly as well. So how do you check it? There's lots of tools out there, a lot of user-made tools that work out. Oh, here's a good post. A guy is trying to sell a front disc rotor protector for a lot less than he bought it for. It wasn't a good one like the Pro Moto Billet one, but yeah. he's probably like me. He probably put it on there and he noticed the adverse handling effect of the front disc rotor protector. And that's where we're at. And then people are looking for connectors. There's pictures of their grandmother standing next to their brand new Husky. Everybody wants to know how to tune the thing. Here's Cody Webb's video. Four-stroke was getting the power to the ground on the Iron Road Prologue. That's good. And then some old vintage bike pictures. So all good. That's what's on the internet. So I'm done with them for the rest of the week. By the way, if you are, let's see, if you are looking to get some discounts on some things, if you know what our sponsors are, oftentimes I have a discount code or I can put you in touch with somebody there. If you want to go over to tacomoto.co, they have lots of cool stuff. I don't have a discount code. You just need to try to win Rooster Endo. That's the truth there. Fast Company. I'm getting some new flex handlebars for one of my bikes. I haven't been riding one of my bikes because my wrists hurt. Kind of like after that jump at Glen Helen. So, pretty good. I'm trying to see something here. Oh, don't put that on that. Let's see. I got to turn that off because it could go onto the show and it'd be really loud. It'd blow it up. Okay. Can unsprung weight from a disc protector actually affect handling? Well, it's not the unsprung weight. It was, I have no idea what it was. I just felt like they affected the handling on a bike I rode once. And I think it was more how it was bolted on to the front fork lug than anything else. And ever since then, I've just hated them. That's why Bulletproof Designs made me this nice one made out of, I guess it's oak or hickory or something like this. This is the breakable disc rotor. It only weighs a few ounces and it floats. So just in case you were wondering, this is a handcrafted, it's even got the, some of the root marks and stuff in it, from Bulletproof Designs. They make really, really nice stuff. You are not going to get one of these in China. I would actually put it up on the wall right now, but that's too much work. Okay. I was going to have some other tequila tonight as well. So we'll see if we can squeeze that into the show here, and maybe I'll make it. I don't think I'm going to make. Oh, I know what the other question was. There's a question from my buddy Mike over in Hawaii. So Mike is the plumber. Not really. He's actually a lifeguard, but he looked like a plumber on our show number 282 or something, 281 or something like that. I have to go back and look. He was changing a moose in the background during the entire show. And Mike sent me an email, and it went a little something like this. Let me find it. It was in the emails here someplace. Okay, here we go. He sent this to both me and Mike Shirley from Rally Navigator. And he said, I really enjoyed the Nora. Thank you guys for making it happen. In fact, I enjoy it so much, I'd like to learn more about navigation and road books. Well, he actually made the entire rally without having too many navigation errors, as far as I know. I mean, I saw him make some because we were watching the tracking. He asked the question, are there any other rally races in North America? Or are there even road books from old races I could be obtained and used for a fun ride? So the answer is, there has not been a rally in North America since the Nevada rally. A real one, a real sanctioned, legal sign up. It gets publicity. They make a video about it. Check out Jerry Bernardo's old Motor World episodes if you want to learn about the Nevada rally. It's what got me really super hooked on rally. I mean, I knew I wanted to go do rally, but after I did that, I knew that was going to be my life. Still is. So there are a lot of, we'll call them non-events in the U.S. There are people that are passionate about rally, and there's different groups, and they go have road books, and they make road books, and they have, like, they're not events. They're just like people show up someplace, and there just happens to be road books. And it's a pretty close knit group because you have to kind of earn your way into them. A lot of it is mostly by, putting some work in or just being a genuine good person. And then you can go do some of these events. I get invited on a lot of them all the time. I wish I could do more of them. But anyways, and yeah, so he didn't find any over there. And for sure, you're not going to find too many rallies in Hawaii. You just don't have the land. So I had mentioned from riding from Pahrump to someplace up in northern Nevada where Mike has a small piece of property. It sounds awesome. How would you go about navigating that? Would you make a road book for something like that or use a tablet or a GPS? Well, you can do it any way. And this is the cool thing. I'm going to kind of go over some of this stuff right now. That's why I'm going to kind of wrap up the show. If you have your questions, go ahead and throw them in the chats and I will get to the questions at the very end of the show, but I'm going to answer like what you should do to do this. So you could do it anyway. So the ideal thing, and it really depends on how you like to navigate and what you want to do. There's no, you can't really get Google Earth to, navigate you through the dirt unless you kind of already know where you're going to go. So you have to kind of know some of these areas. If you stick to bigger main dirt roads, you can easily click your way on Google Earth and somehow figure out a way to make a track log or a GPX file or a KML file that you can use with a GPS. But the cool thing about Rally Navigator is, and so Rally Navigator, it's rallynavigator.com. You can download the free version and it'll let you do quite a bit of things. You can do the same thing on Rally Navigator where you just click through and make your route. I don't know if in the free version that you can export the GPX or the KML. And forgive me for not knowing what the free version includes and what the pay version includes, but it's a subscription and it's not that expensive for a non-commercial user. But you can click through it and it'll place waypoints and it'll trace the roads and it'll give you a track log and you can export it. But what that'll also do is if you click at the turns, it will also produce you a kind of turn by turn, a very, very basic notes. Like it'll tell you at what mileage the turns are at. And then with that software, you can go in and you can adjust the notes and you can modify them and draw, different shapes and different things to where you come up with what would essentially be a map book. It allows you, and with a little bit of time and a little bit of practice, it allows you to literally build a road book. And these days, all you need is a tablet that has a PDF reader, and then you have a road book. And then there's some, downloadable, pretty, even Rally Navigator has a PDF reader that has an odometer and a compass in it, which are the two things you would use. And you have to have a GPS enabled tablet, but there's all kinds, there's from free to really expensive ones, all the way up to like the flagship, which is the Tower One, the ICO Racing Tower One unit, that you can just download this Rally Navigator file that you made and you can put in it. You can add waypoints just like a real rally and you can do everything. So if I were going to do it, I could put one of those things together. It's just how much time do you have to invest in making it? How good do you want your road book to be? Do you have a backup plan? Like, do you have that GPX file so that you could, if your road book doesn't work, can you fall back onto putting your arrow on the line and following the line? There's lots of different things that you can do. You can have a simple GPS that you download the track log into, all different kinds of things. But yeah, making the road books is pretty fun. It's time consuming, but you can definitely, you could definitely make a road book almost anywhere. And if you hop out in the pavement, you can indicate, yeah, you're here, you come out, you turn on the pavement, you go 20 miles down the pavement, you turn off this dirt road here. And sometimes your road books don't work if you haven't been able to pre-run them. And I still, when I do exploring, I still carry the big, the DeLorme or the Benchmark, big oversized paper maps, the book. the paper book. I roll it up and I can stick it in my backpack or I can put it in a pannier. And when I'm exploring, I will carry one of those because I can always figure out where I'm at, and then I can see if there's any roads or any other, information about the area I'm in. Usually it's like, where the hell am I going to get gas? So yeah, yep. I can give you since I know the area here, here's what I'll do for you, Mike. I know the area. I can give you a track log from my place up to your place, and then you make the road book for it. And then we'll ride it. And then when we get done, I'll tell you how much your road book sucked, like I do with every road book that I ever ride, and what everybody does to every road book of mine they ride, because that's what you do. Just common courtesy to tell the person that put all the time and effort into it that it sucks and it could be better. And I would have done it like this. And I always say, well, then maybe you should do it. So that's what I do with people at races that tell me how to run my race. I say, that's a great idea. You should do that in your race. That's why I'm not a very good race promoter. San Felipe Bob wants to know, how much does the WR125 weigh? And does the weight feel match the actual weight? Well, you know what? These are questions that I can't answer right now. So I'm going to ask Gemini. And it wants to verify it's me. What? Oh, boy. Now we're going through this whole process of trying to figure out how to... Yeah, it's me. Come on, look at me. Who else looks this good on the internets right now? And I should just ask Google if I feel like I'm lucky. I don't know. Let me see if I can copy that again and paste it in something else. Let's see. Here we go. Here, paste, and ask it an AI. The WR125. Well, guess what? Which one? It's the Yamaha one, not the Husqvarna WR125, an older high-performance two-stroke enduro dirt bike, by the way. The actual weight, the curb weight, is 304 pounds. Why it weighs this much? It utilizes a heavy-duty double cradle steel frame, emissions equipment, ABS braking pump, and liquid-cooled four-stroke engine. Let's see. And according to Reddit, in the Dual Sport forums, it's telling you that on the road it feels lighter. It feels light and nimble, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a 125 four-stroke, and there's not much inertia or horsepower coming out of it, hence it will feel light. But in the dirt, Reddit says that it feels heavy. And I will have to agree with it because I really only rode it in the dirt today. If you take it on a tight, technical off-road trails, you will quickly notice the weight. Picking it up or after a drop or managing it on loose sand requires noticeably more effort than a dedicated dirt bike. These statements are, in fact, correct. I'm sure that Google is listening to me right now, and they have updated their thing, and they will quote Tech Talk Taco Tuesday on their next AI rendition of this question. Thank you, Bob, for making AI smarter and trying to replace me at the same time. That's good. Stack Smasher, here we go. Says, what's the best way to get a local bike for Barstow to Vegas? So you're talking about renting. Stack Smasher actually commented nicely on one of my videos, but thank you. So to rent, there's a couple of tour companies. I think one of them is Coyote Adventures that does some sort of rentals for Barstow to Vegas. Check them out. Whatever you do not rent an Eagle Rider bike because they will charge you for every scratch on it, and you'll pay a fortune. And I guarantee you that if you ride it in Barstow to Vegas, you will scratch the rims, the frame, and the plastic. So yes, they will try to get you to replace all that stuff on your credit card that they have run the number on. How do I know? Because I know someone that was dumb enough to do that. Someone actually brought one of those to my class, and I saw that it was an Eagle Rider rental. And I said, why didn't you rent one of our bikes? And they're like, well, we didn't know, and like this. And I'm like, I would prefer that you park that thing, and because you'll rent one of my bikes and you can scratch it up and do whatever you want to it. And it'll be a fraction, just the rental cost and any damage to it will be a fraction of what you pay. And they go, no, I prefer to use this Honda 650L. They scratched the front fender and the handguard, and it was somewhere around $700. So just so you know, they don't really want them to go in the dirt. And that was a Honda XR 650L. Okay. That's it. All 32 million of you. Thank you for watching and enjoying this show. My name again is Jimmy Lewis. The show is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha would like you to enjoy Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. That's why they make Tenerays. Because after this show, you just want to go ride your Tenere, because that's what I really want to do. But I'm going to hop in my truck and I'm going to go up and I'm going to keep some trails open someplace a little ways away from here. But it's all doing, I might throw the WR125 in the back, believe it or not, just in case I get my truck really stuck and then I have a way to, a way out. Or I'll just ride it over to the hot springs and hang out, however it works. So good on you, everybody. Like to thank Fast Company, Bulletproof Designs, DDC, our original sponsor, Tugger. Who else? Trail Tech. I think Trail Tech. Trying to get in touch with Trail Tech. My guy at Trail Tech left Trail Tech, so I got to find the new person at Trail Tech. That's the thing with, as you get older, you realize that new people come into the companies and they have no idea who you are or why the heck you were on their program, because you're an old dude and what have you done? So that's good. Thank you, Jimmy, for all the good MC info. You're welcome, Gary. That's what we try to do here. If you have friends that need to listen to the show, just have them click on an old episode. Go back in our archives. They are on all of the podcast formats you can find. I think they're all up on YouTube as well. So as much as you, and trust me, there's a difference between the edited version and the live version on YouTube, because I actually go in and kind of clean up some of the crap. The sound gets better on the edited version. So I need to go in and fix some stuff there, but that requires work, and I'm allergic to it. Oh, and I was going to have a little more tequila, so I'm going to sign off with my. I'm going to sign off with my. Let's see. This is it's hard to see. Cava de Oro, Cava de Oro, Extra Anejo. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can see the label because it's written in the glass. Tequila, Extra Anejo. Oh, label's hard to read, but it's really good. So I'm going to sign off with a little sip of this. This is some special stuff. It's Mexican. You can't get it here. Really, really tasty. So cheers, everybody. I'm going to shut off the show, and JB Black wants to go to La Fonda. Well, we should have done that today. We'll make it a date in whenever we do. Husabergs for life. Right after my Yamahas, of course. And with that, everybody, we will see you out on the trail. Cheers. Okay, shut the program off. If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.